Arsenal extend their lead at the top of the Premier League, but Rohit is upset. Why? Because they're no longer the set-piece kings. That title has been lost to Liverpool. But Arsenal were never the set-piece kings, were they? They were always Stoke in disguise. Manchester United, we're back. Not the greatest of performances, but still, Carrick is at the wheel and the throttle is full and going fast as anything. Let's get ready to discuss. Welcome back to 2 Hours 2 Innings Football. It's a luxury today. There's three of us here. How you doing, boys? You okay?
Yeah, all good, all good. How you doing?
So, Ajay, the most pressing question is, how was the Soho Tavern, young man?
Oh, fantastic. Couldn't have had a better mixed grill. The fish masala was on point, chili paneer was crispy. It was heaven, man. It was
You're
fantastic.
making me feel hungry now, Ajay. You know.
Did it set you up for a very busy Sunday?
It did indeed, yes. And I was in Leicester, met up with a few friends. I think it was either a Pungra Showdown or a Captain Pungra Showdown that was happening because there were a lot of university students in there. Pungra t-shirts, yeah. So I think there was Loughborough, there was Nottingham,
Nice.
Leicester, Birmingham. So it was a full-on Punjabi affair, let's just say. So it was a lot of the twisting of the light bulbs, patting the dog. But you know what, we were all excited, and then all the bars and the clubs were all playing the India game and also the Man United game. So I had two screens looking at the same time. I'm like watching Man United, watching India. It was crazy. But you know what, it was a fantastic day for sport, especially for us United fans and as well for Arsenal. And you know what, I have to double check my mic. 2-1, because that seemed to be the results for today. It was 2-1 across the whole of the four games.
Every game was 2-1 and home team won.
Yeah. So forget 6-7. It's 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Ajay, you could be famous. That could be the new trend. So let's start with the first game of the day. Just chronological order. So Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. I'll be honest. I wasn't watching this. My eye was firmly on the cricket. And for those of you who do follow us, we will be reviewing the India versus West Indies game shortly as well. So please do like and subscribe that part of our 2 Hours 2 Innings podcast. So Ajay,
it's
I watched the
channel,
highlights.
By the way, it's another channel. Yeah. 2 Hours 2 Innings cricket.
So Ajay, it was from the highlights, from what I saw and reading, it was kind of a pretty well. You watched both of them, so go on then. You tell us about the game. What was your perception?
I know I had to keep one eye on the cricket, one eye on the football. But the first couple of minutes, United started off slow, and basically it was a sucker punch of a goal. It was a set piece. It was a corner, and I don't know what Lenny Yoro was thinking. He had no eyes on the ball. He was trying to man mark the player who scored, which was Lacroix. And I don't know what he was doing, man. He looked like a deer in headlights. He was caught, like he just wasn't, like I said, paying attention to the ball. It was a lovely header. Lamens couldn't do anything about it. It was placed nicely into the corner, but it just kind of set the tone for United. They looked really sluggish. They looked slow. The first half wasn't great. Didn't really make too many chances. A couple of a couple of crosses to Sesko, but straight at Henderson. And then in the second half, I think that's when United really started to come out of the show. It was Bruno Fernandes' show again, getting the penalties. That was a great pass to Cunha, and VAR made the correct decision. The challenge was deemed to have been in the box, even though contact was first made outside of the box. But I think when you looked at it, you looked at Cunha, he actually then obviously the contact was in the box and he fell within the box. So VAR made a correct decision there, because that could have been a talking point, where we've seen it in previous games.
Do you think it was a correct decision though, Ajay? If you remember, against City, against Liverpool, the same challenge against Salah, and nothing was given. No red card was given.
Yeah, I mean,
it was City. I can see City. I believe that was a red card, but again, I could be wrong. But is City? What we want consistency from umpires, from referees, from
the only thing that I could the only thing I would say about the Salah one with Gay was that there probably was a covering defender. So was it a kind of denying of a clear goal scoring opportunity? And
it was. We know Salah. It was clear. It was a clear goal scoring opportunity.
I mean, regardless of going retrospectively, without going too far retrospectively back into previous games, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think the VAR decision was correct on this one. I think it was more obvious for Cunha, and then Fernandes to put the penalty in. Fantastic, you sometimes do think with Fernandes this season, is that penalty going to go in or would it have been saved? But he was cool, calm, collective, and then also to set up Sesko for the second goal. It was fantastic, great header, and then United looked quite comfortable, but then Palace did look like coming back in the last dying minutes. But we've seen off a 2-1 win. Happy. That's 2 wins on the trot, and Carrick seems to be firmly at the wheel. So it's looking good for United. We're third now. We're above Villa, who had a shock loss to Wolves in the Friday night football. So that was fantastic. I mean, Wolves look like a totally different team, knowing that they're going down. They look like they're taking a lot of the other teams with them and making misery for them.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, back to the penalty. My perception is, again, I didn't watch the game live. I watched the highlights. It seemed more that it was a penalty gained rather than earned, if that makes sense. I think for me, Cunha made the most of that. And I'm not saying it wasn't a foul, but I think if it wasn't as theatrical, we might have got that. And Rohit, in terms of obviously you're right about consistency with VR, but remember, the referee went to the screen, so he actually added on top of the penalty by giving the red card, and I think that for me, from the highlights, it appeared that changed the course of the game. Now I know that was kind of late, it was 60th minute or something. I think the penalty was. Yeah. So I think, but the second half, United appeared to be kind of come out the tracks, and they appeared to be kind of playing better. So it's. I mean, the thing is, I think the for me, the kind of the attacking prowess or the way they were playing has kind of died down a little bit compared to when Carrick first came at the club. But the thing is that they're winning games. And you can't play every game really well, which you said that for Arsenal and other teams as well. So that's the most important thing. And he's squeezing the pips out of his players, which the previous management team couldn't have or didn't.
It's still early days, isn't it? I mean,
Still early days, yeah.
Because we can't, like we discussed, we wouldn't know how well they play every 3 days.
Yeah.
So that would be the challenge next year.
I said that would be the test. For me, that is the test. If they get into Europe, and if Carrick was to stay on, that for me, that's the real test. But I think there's going to be a massive overhaul of the squad anyway. But again, if it wasn't for whatever reason, and the team was to stay where it is, for me, the real test is how do they cope playing Wednesday, Saturday, or like Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool are at the moment, Chelsea as well.
So if Carrick makes it to third, would you think you should give him a full-time contract?
This is difficult for me, Rohit, because he obviously understands the club, and we've talked about this before. He understands the weight of the shirt and the expectation of the crowd, and the what's gone on before and what probably needs to be done. Someone else coming in, they will want to put their own spin on it. Now, obviously, there's a couple of world-class managers that have been spouted, but some of them have already committed themselves. So I think Ancelotti has committed himself to Brazil till 2030. Thomas Tuchel was one of the names that was branded around. He's committed himself again for an extension of his contract with England as well, to the Euros 2028.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, there are the likes of Gareth Southgate, etc. And although I said at the time, I would like to see Javi, and I think I just said Luis Enrique. Probably these people is it's a coming into new culture, for them as well, and understanding the new culture. And I'm not saying they're not going to be able to do it, but because others have, but it adds pressure. And for me, I think if United get to third with what we've got, and when you consider how they were playing beforehand, then I think he deserves a crack at the whip. 2-year contract. Don't go crazy, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, 2-year contract, and then see what happens. But some people, the players still very speak highly of Ruben Amorim. When I think Rio Ferdinand interviewed with Dallo, and they said, sometimes we talk about the man before the man, and it appears that Ruben Amorim was probably the man before the man. Now, I'm not saying Carrick is the man, but he's done a lot of the dirty work in terms of weeding out the bad culture or whatever. It appears, again, we don't know, we're not on the cold face, so it's difficult. But one thing I liked, by the way, this is a little bit away from the game, is that the United fans, they unveiled a banner after the half time, which was about immigration, and kind of they showed the players who obviously Manchester United players who are obviously not kind of English, so to speak, English born. So I like that, because obviously that's the kind of, it's it's kind of going against what Sir Jim had said, who obviously is one of the co-owners of United. And obviously we've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go into deep detail about that. But I like that. So they're just, I suppose the club's saying that we're all encompassing and we're welcoming to all cultures, etc. So I like that when it came from the fans, because we've seen some fan behaviour over the weekend which wasn't respectful. So the Leeds Man City game, the game was stopped because they wanted the Man City players to open their fast, which is for the Muslim community. It's Ramadan, and there was even messages on the scorecards, on the screens as well. And then, some of the Leeds fans were booing that action, and there's also a lot of I feel short-sighted and idiotic comments going on Twitter saying, "Oh, this is an English country. Why should we do this, that, and the other?" Which I think at the end of the day, it may be an English country, but we're saying that we're respecting cultures, and there are players there who are of a certain faith, and we're respecting their faith, and you can't to be able to play in a high performing game, Premier League, which is one of the elite games, whilst fasting, again, not have any fluids or nothing like that. That's for me, that's very, very hard, and that deserves high level of respect, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. It is a monumental feat to do, and respect to the clubs that do offer the time to allow the players to break their fast. Obviously, we've got Mazraoui, who's and Ahmad, I believe, that of the Muslim faith that do obviously have to open their
They,
fast. But regarding with Carrick, I mean, like you said, Rohit, I mean, would I give him the permanent job? I think it depends again on the demeanor of how the next few results go. How when we finish, if we do finish third, like you said, I think I see Villa dropping points. And obviously Chelsea have dropped points again today with Arsenal. Liverpool could be hot on the heels. I think I wouldn't want to go back to doing an Ollie part two, job. I think, emotions aside, Ineos need to look at this with, not rose tinted specs, purely looking at who can we get as the best caliber of manager. I know like Gary Neville has been saying it post match comments as well, and obviously I think in Sky Sports they had some data that they collected on which manager would be suited to best manage Man United in their current situation. And it looked like Roberto Martinez was very high up there, and obviously he was at the Portugals. He's in the Portugal fitting, so yeah. So you have a look to see how he goes in the World Cup. But there are a pool of managers there, like Luis Enrique. There's that German manager. I can't
Nangelsmann.
Nagelsmann, sorry, yes. So there are. I mean, this is the perfect time to get a really good manager, So even like Conte was scored very highly up there as well, but obviously he's with Napoli. So let's see. I think Carrick is an amazing job at the moment as a caretaker, because he knows that feeling that maybe I'm not going to be here forever. So at the end of the day, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Once he gets that signature of being a permanent manager, would that change? Would that be more pressure on him? Would his style of management change therefore? So yeah, it's a hard question, Rohit. But you know what? It's looking good for United though to have that headache, to think actually, Carrick is doing a good job. Maybe keep him, or do we go for a top class manager?
But Ajay, just to counter that, United, since Sir Alex Ferguson's left, they've always gone for a top class manager. On paper, okay, maybe you question Moyes, but and maybe Ollie, but they went for Jose Mourinho. I'm not going to do this in chronological. I'm not doing this in chronological order, but we've had Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Eric Ten Hag, Amarin. These all have been successful managers in obviously different levels of success, but Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, they aren't mugs. They weren't young in their careers. They were very experienced managers who have done it in a number of countries. And obviously, in Van Gaal's case, he actually had done it. Well, he hadn't won anything with Holland, but he had taken them very far deep into competition. So it's everything on paper is fine, but I think there's lots of things that you need to think about, and I think it adds back to Rohit really in terms of what Arsenal did. Really, is really when you think about it, and I know we ridicule him a lot because we have to, but but it was such a brave decision for Arsenal to take a rookie manager.
it was a
Because
big
that's
risk.
such a massive, and at the end of the day, this is one of the powerhouses of English football. Regardless of what they haven't won a title for the past 20 years. But in the core traditional powerhouses, Arsenal is one of those powerhouses. And for them to make that bold decision and stick with him, that is strong leadership from the owners and belief in the direction of travel that they're going, and that deserves respect. And again, joking aside, genuinely, just for that, I think Arsenal deserve to win the league just for that reason, because I think that shows No, just seriously, OJ, because I think that it's got to be admirable, especially when you look nowadays that it's just fire, higher fire, higher fire, higher fire, and for some clubs it works, like with Chelsea, it works, but because they've got the money, they can do that, but not everyone's got the money to do that, and when we talked about the finances for Manchester United and Arsenal, and obviously both clubs have, they're potentially stemming the tide, but they are, they haven't been making money, so they can't keep going, so. I think it's really admirable what Arsenal have done, and genuinely for that reason, I think I really do hope they win the league. It just shows how a good owned club, which is managed properly, can lead to success when you believe in the values and the direction of travel and the culture that they're trying to
Yeah,
create.
fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Some
Yeah.
people call us Stoke in disguise. Some people, then
Uh,
they change the headline to say, "Oh, Liverpool being the kings of set pieces," and then,
Well, I think
oh my God.
the Premier League should limit teams to only have 3 corners allowed in per game. Then we'll see. Then we'll see what admirability Arsenal have and Arteta have,
No,
and if
but
they can actually score
I
from
am
open play.
actually. I don't think we played well actually, but we won by set pieces. They scored from set piece as well.
Well,
But
just before you go into the
yeah.
Arsenal game, can we just quickly finish off the United
Yeah,
game?
yeah, let's finish
I mean, I
off.
don't know
I
if
think
you just quickly, so we can wrap that off and clean, then we can talk about Arsenal. So, I mean, again, I doubt you watched the United game like me. Your eyes were probably fully firm on India. Did you see any of the highlights, or what were your perception of the game?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't watched the
Okay.
highlights either because I was watching the Arsenal game because I didn't watch the Arsenal game live. And so, again, the only thing, because I've been reading on Twitter as well, that if that's a red card for Crystal Palace, then should be red card for Gay as well. So this is, again, I'm talking about consistency of the refs, consistency of the of the VAR reviews, VAR decisions. I don't know how they make decisions. This game is very subjective. I don't know how they make decisions like
That's the
this.
thing. I mean, I assume it's a different referee for the games.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah. So then that, I mean, again, we could, Ajay and I in our professions, there's objective and subjective elements to our profession, and we could see a patient today and have one prescription, see them tomorrow and get a different prescription just because of how they respond. So it's so and this and that's not fast paced or slow paced, like a football game, is it? So it's, you can understand that, but again, the reason why VAR was brought in, or how it was sold to us, is they were going to kind of minimize these errors, human errors. But as you said, it's not, it's not adding to the consistency. So
Yeah, same as
I
like
mean,
when City got a handball last night. No VAR check, nothing. But he actually moved his hand towards the ball, so it should have been a penalty. So
yeah, we saw that together. Actually, we were together at that point.
we were
both
together,
thought it was a penalty,
and we said, "Whoa,
we
what's
were
happening? It was a
amazed.
penalty.
Yeah.
That was a proper penalty, and then it's not been given, and that was last minute.
Well,
Leeds
I
could
don't
have
think it was
scored.
checked. Was it checked? I don't think it
No,
was
that's what I'm
even checked.
saying. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
They might have quickly checked. Oh no, nothing. Is ball to hand, but actually it was hand to ball. So
There
anyway,
was a similar instance with Sesko when he headed the ball, and it seemed to brush Crystal Palace's defender's fingers. So again, there is obviously some inconsistencies, but
Yeah.
it's good to kind of see when it is done in your
I'm-
team's favour.
Yeah.
Obviously, it does make it easier for you.
Yeah, I'm not blaming refs. This is really hard job, very, very hard job in today's fast pace. And they need, but then we need a clarity.
But they've got all the technology, they've got all the images, they've got all the angles.
Yeah,
so
but
they
images
can.
again, it's like
It's a professional game.
slow motion. Everything's gonna look bad anyway.
Yeah,
But
that's
what I'm trying to say is that at least the PGMO should give them some kind of help there to say, guys, 1 + 1 needs to be 2. 1 + 1 can't be 3 at one day and 4 in one day and 2 at one day. So it has to be 1 + 1, 2. Again, it's subjective sport. This is what I'm saying. It's very hard for referees to make a decision. But if the same referee gives different decision every time, then there is a big problem, and it happens.
That's an issue. Yeah,
That's an issue. I have seen that happen. One referee said, right, okay, no, I don't want to make this a massive game to 10-man game. I don't want to give a red card. But the next game, he gives a red card to another team, and same teams playing same game. So this is what I don't like. I don't like that. Anyway, I don't want to talk about too much on that, but
yeah. So I think I just summed up the Man United game very well. The only things I'm going to say, I think, is a great. Sesko was quiet in the first half. His first start for United under Carrick. But he had a delight. I think he had one shot on target, but he had a beautiful pass from
another game he scored. Yeah.
Bruno, and he scored in the 65th minute, and that's good. That'd be good for his confidence as well. So I think that's 6 goals in 8 starts, or 8 games or something like that. And for United again, it's with under Carrick, there's 6 wins and 1 draw, so 19 points out of a possible 21. So I think probably the most informed team at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously that's seen them rise up the table to 3rd, as you said, Ajay. So we've got Newcastle next. So there's a little bit concern about Luke Shaw. He's been ever present this year. All the 28 games he's played, which is I think his most consistent and injury-free season for United in a very, very long time. But he came off after 25 minutes, so let's see what happens with him. But I think we've got a decent enough replacement with Mazraoui, who came on for during this game as well. But I mean, looking at the some of the stats of the game as well. So again, United were quite high in possession, which I suppose we'd expect that because they're playing at home. They had 20 shots on target. So 20 shots on goal, 11 on target. 11 on target. So that's positive as well. Again, again, I think if you compare that to how things were under Amrin, that for me that's positive. It's positive intent to win the game rather than lose it. And I think the number of passes as well and corners as well. So I think there are lots of things about the game which it may not have been the best performance, but I think there's lots of positives in there that we can take on going into the last 10 games of the season.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace are not easy team to beat anyway.
Yeah, well, I think
they're a very tough team.
Beat United 3 times. I think at Old Trafford. I think it's 3 times.
They've been a tricky team.
Yeah. The last time Manchester United beat Palace, I think Marcus Rashford scored the goal. So I can't remember how long it's been since Marcus Rashford has been there. So it's been a while. Put it this way.
No, the only quick thing I would say just on the negatives I'd say on Man United was, like I said, with Lenny Yoro, I think again he's looking a little bit shaky, so I'm not the most confident regarding him. But then Mazraoui didn't look the best at left back either, so there might be a bit of an issue going to Newcastle coming to United. I think we'd go to St James's Park if Mazraoui has to be in that left back role. But one thing I will kind of say with Carrick is that again this is another instance where we've been playing against a team with 10 men. And then we've managed to beat them. That would be only my critique. I mean, we did struggle against Everton. Fair enough, the conditions may have not been obviously the best, but we did struggle against Everton. We had struggled against West Ham, and we have struggled against teams with the low block. So I think the only thing that I would say for Carrick and the men is that they need to look at trying to do more adventurous, fast passing, more direct passing in order to be more penetrative in the opposition box. Because if these teams are sitting back, it doesn't look the best watching United in certain times of play. So that's what Carrick needs to work out. And the idea of either putting Sesko, starting him, or benching him and putting Ahmad, that's something that Carrick is going to have to work out for the next game.
I mean, for me, that's a better starting lineup. I don't think Ahmad's been that great over the past since he's come back from African Cup of Nations. And beforehand he was really good. He was a key player for United, and he was missed. But my counter argument to that is, Ajay, was that we Manchester United played at home to Everton under Amrin with 10 men for a very long time and ended up losing the game 1-0. So it's the mentality as well of the team.
I mean, you can have a bad day. You can have a bad day, and that atmosphere in that stadium when I was there, it was horrible. But what I'm saying for United is that Chelsea were 10 men, we managed to beat them. Obviously, Crystal Palace 10 men, and we had. I think another sending off in another game, I can't remember. But it seems to be, like I said, with Carrick, it would be good to kind of see us dominate a team that's kind of lower in the table, who are doing like a low block, kind of defending well system where we can try to, unlock their defence. That's what I would say, because otherwise we do seem to run out of ideas if Bruno's not the one that's creating that magic, let's just say. But overall, great win. I'm happy. 3rd in the table. Can't complain.
Yep. Conor Rohit, if you spoke far too long about Manchester United, that was going to happen when there's 2 Man United fans on the podcast. So you're probably thinking, God,
I'm bored.
Come on then. So before we start dissecting the game, I want to chuckle on something that I talked about in my opening spiel, which was about the post that you actually shared, which was that earlier on.
I'll share it here as well.
Yeah, you'll share it on here. Yeah. So you shared within our little WhatsApp group that you shared a post that Arsenal are Stoke in disguise because of the amount of, at that point, I think the first half of the season, amount of set-piece goals they had scored. But Liverpool, all of a sudden, since this turn of the year, they've got the most set-piece goals, and now they're set-piece kings.
Yep.
So go on,
That's the
vent out,
narrative.
Roy. Let me hear that passion, anger from
No,
you.
I mean, I already said that I don't care, man. These all these, I don't know what they say. It's such there is definitely an agenda. There's definitely an agenda. They don't like Arsenal. Definitely, there is an agenda somewhere. Either they are the no, they are. See, as a journalist or as a speaker like we need to be very very fair, neutral, right? When we talk about games, when it obviously we all have our own personal. Teams who we support, that's fine, but when you're writing something or when you're saying something on a public space and public in front of public mic, you need to be very fair on what you say. Our podcast is about fans, so we can say how we feel about fans, but as a journalist you should always be very very objective about it. You can't be subjective, too much subjective about it. You can't just say, oh, this team is playing well, this team is not playing well, but same team who doesn't play well, oh, you are rubbish, you know. So this is what I don't like, but I don't care, let them speak. This is what I remember George Graham said, guys, this is Arsenal, they hate us, so don't worry, they will keep coming. Even if we win 1-0, 2-0, they will say we are not playing well. So let them be. Use that. So I'm sure Mikel is using that as a injection of passion to say, guys, look how much fuel. Yeah, that's it. Look, guys, how much they are hating us every day. For Liverpool, it's Kings. For us, it's Stoke. I don't care. We might be good at Stoke as well. You know, you need to be good at good at set pieces. But when other teams score, they don't care. They were, wow, what a set piece. Oh, what a long throw. Brilliant. I remember we've been like same game tonight. Like for example, 2-1 we beat Chelsea. If we reverse that fixture 10 years ago, Chelsea win this game 2-1, and we had more possession. We had more shots.
With Mourinho masterclass.
With Mourinho masterclass. They will say, oh, what a Mourinho masterclass. Look at that. Look at that. But for Arsenal, what rubbish. What rubbish. Set piece FC. Set piece. Guys, I'm bloody fed up of set piece FC.
I thought you were going to talk much about this, Rohit.
No, I didn't want to talk about it, but you pushed me.
So back to the game then, Rohit. So you said that you didn't think Arsenal played well. No, as I said, I didn't watch the game. But so in our preview of this game, I asked you a question about whether you thought that Chelsea were going to set up similar to how they set up against you in the Carabao Cup semi-final. So Liam Rosen is one of his early games. You felt that he wouldn't. Okay, but now again, reading between the lines and reading from the reviews and looking at some very quick highlights, I think he did, because I don't think Stoke. Well, I think they contributed to the poor game. Again, you watched the game, so you might think what I'm saying is unfair. And also, I don't think Chelsea had a shot on target in the first half, did they?
No, I didn't see. I didn't watch the first half because I was watching the cricket. So but highlights doesn't show much anyway, right? So I have to watch the full game. But if you see, go by the stats, they had seven shots. We had 10. And they had 2 shots on target. They didn't have many, but the chances they were creating, I don't know what the XG was. When I watched the highlights, they only showed Chelsea's attempts, and they were very, very good attempts. Raya made 3, I think, what I could remember, great saves. And we weren't at it tonight, I think, second half. Especially after they went 10 men. They had more possession than us.
It says Chelsea had 2 big chances missed.
The 2 big chances. So. They had 65% possession after going down to 10 men. Overall, they had 58% possession, the highest they had at Arsenal, and highest Arsenal have given away their minutes. So that tells you the story. Maybe we let them, like I said, 10 years ago, it would have been perfect, right? Like Mourinho, give them the ball, let them have possession. They're not doing anything. They are not, they're not a threat. Let them have that. And maybe that was the case. So I again, we had 10 shots, 5 on target, but I don't know. So, the highlights doesn't show me too much.
So were both goals? I know were both goals from set piece, and this is
all 3 goals were set piece.
All 3 goals were set pieces. Yeah.
3 goals. So I think the only shot on first half was just the goalkeeper, Chelsea's goalkeeper, picking the ball out. Sorry, Arsenal's goalie Ray picking the ball out of the net. That was the only.
And that was an own goal as well. It wasn't a
goal. Yeah.
It was in Campy, innit? Yeah, in Campy.
And wasn't there allegedly a contentious penalty that should have been looked at or even given?
It was the same. I think it was the same corner. I think where they scored from. They were saying.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Rice wasn't looking at the ball. He was just blocking. I don't know who he was blocking. I think they were talking about that. And then there was
Chelsea fan, would you have wanted that penalty?
See, this is what's happening every game now. It's up to referees to, again, like I said, it's up to
No, I'm
referees to
asking
say
your
this is
opinion,
the
Roy.
rule.
If you was a
Yeah.
Chelsea fan,
Yeah.
would you have been upset if that penalty wasn't given? That penalty
man.
wasn't given.
Yeah. It happens every game. They do it. They did to us as well. They blocked our players as well. It would have been like 10 penalties each in that game. So where is the fine line? Where is the threshold
That's
we
true.
need to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about that, I mean, who did Manchester United play? Who did they play on Monday?
Everton.
Oh, but every corner there's like a wrestling match, like a
There was a wrestling
WWE wrestling game.
That's
Literally.
what Arteta has unfortunately corrupted the Premier League now, is infected it with these corner tactics. And now everybody's trying to stick 12 men into the
Newcastle,
box.
guys. See, again, the narrative is what you're reading online. For if you actually see, it was Newcastle who started this. Newcastle, they blocked Ramsdale at St. James's Park. They scored 2 goals because of that, and Arsenal players were complaining, and nothing happened. So what would a good coach do? Okay, if that's the case, we will do that. We will use it to our advantage as well. Let's see what happens. So they started it 3 years ago. I still remember that they actually blocked him. That was more of a foul than Arsenal do at the moment.
Fair enough. I mean, like you said, any way to win the game, I guess. But you know what? The main thing is that you've got the 3 points, and you come away from 2 important games, Tottenham and Chelsea,
and winning.
And can Arsenal fans start to believe now? Start celebrating?
Single digits now. 9 games left. 9 games
Yes.
left. But there's one big game in there.
April.
Game.
Man City, yeah.
Man City. Ooh.
Is that home or away?
Away.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure you beat them away before.
No. We haven't beat. I think we drew them. We beat them twice at home last 2 seasons, but we didn't beat them away at the moment. We could have beaten them last year, but then last second they scored the goal. Remember when
John Stones, right?
John Stones. When the
John
referee
Stones
gave a yellow card to thing. And even in that
was from
game,
a set piece as well.
Yeah, that was set piece as well. So no one mentioned that. The City drew the game by set piece.
That's because it's Pep.
It was Pep in it. And then I remember Haaland threw the ball at Gabriel at the back of his head. That would have been a red card. But nothing happened.
But one thing you can guarantee with Chelsea is there's going to be a red card in there somewhere. So this is their ninth
actually, if you see that, 9th.
Wow.
It was seventh in the Premier League.
7th in Premier League, 2 in the Champions League.
So
and
there's some kind of either bad luck or disciplinary issues happening with Chelsea, and I think it really is starting to affect them. And then obviously, going ahead into the Champions League and obviously in the latter stages of the Premier League, would this cost them? Because you can't keep on having a player missing games, especially when they don't even have their own best starting 11. And Pedro Neto has been a good player for them. So exactly. So it's a weird one with Chelsea. I'm really not understanding what Liam Rosner is kind of like instilling into the players and their style of play. And I think for Arsenal, I think there were, like I said, it was just who could be the better set piece team. To be fair, was the main difference with this game. I mean, there wasn't really much quality after that. I think Timber's goal was okay as well.
Yeah.
But again, I think Arsenal just wanted to get over the line, didn't they, bro? They just didn't really care. We just anyway we win. We just need to win 2-1.
We need to win. Single digits now, 9 games left. We have to just win every game.
You keep doing that. You're champions.
Yeah, exactly. But then there is like Champions League games in between, FA Cup. Then we have Carabao Cup final as well. It's big games coming up as well.
It is, Roy. But the thing is, though, that you know what? After a while, you as a fan or as a supporter, whether your club or other club, your memory gets very skewed in terms of the how the team performed. And I'll give you an example of this very quickly before we close. So I think last year on Prime, there was a United the treble winning season under Sir Alex, 99. I think it's called 1999. The program, and they track Manchester United during that season and how things changed. Now, my memory of that, I was first year university, kind of 18, 19. So football was still a big passion, really big passion for me then. I thought United were amazing. And when I watched that, United were absolutely shocking up until January. There's loads of scandal. He wasn't able to get York and Cole, and he wasn't know how to play Sheringham and what's it called, and Solskjaer. And it was really shambolic. Literally, they were awful. It's only after like something clicked, after the new year, then obviously then we found a rhythm and we obviously went on. History obviously showed that we were win the treble. Sorry, but so what I'm trying to say is that though, now that we're saying, oh, it's very scrappy or whatever, but in 2 years' time, if Arsenal win the league and I say to you, how was the 24, 25, sorry, 26 season, you'll probably say, oh, they were the best team on the planet. So it doesn't matter, does it? The point I'm trying to say to you is that, once you've got it, at the day, all the history that matters
Yeah,
is
it
that you won
just
the league, not
won
how
the
you
league.
won it. Yeah,
That's it. They need to
yeah,
now somehow visualize it and then
yeah.
win it. It's
And,
just
and
not.
and that's what it is now. It's about
Yeah,
visualization. I think obviously a lot of people say that's quite powerful, the
they
coaching
asked.
circles and things.
They asked Patrick Vieira, what would you like to win, Premier League or Champions League?
I asked you that question last. What did he
Yeah,
say?
they asked Patrick Vieira. He said the league.
You said the same.
Mm. Trust me, guys, his league is the best. You ask Sir Alex, he will say the same. The league.
Yeah, he did used to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah,
Yeah, he used to say
is the
that.
league. Leagues tells you the best team in the country.
Yeah, and there's no
Yeah,
there's no kind of,
yeah,
it's, you got to play everyone twice, once at
yeah.
home, once away.
Exactly.
There's
It's the
no luck of the
toughest.
draw.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
no luck of the draw
There's
and all
no
that
luck of
kind
the
of stuff.
draw.
So
There's no
yeah,
luck of the some.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's an even kill in terms of everyone knows that everyone's got to play everyone twice.
yeah, yeah,
It's not like, as you said, the Champions League draw. You could
yeah,
get lucky, like
yeah.
Arsenal got lucky with their draw, with their side of the draw for the quarter last
Yeah,
round of
you
16.
sometimes you do need that, right? For cups at
You
least. Yeah,
do,
yeah,
you do. Well, the best.
yeah.
Okay. I think that wraps everything up. So a good win for United, scrappy win for United, I suppose, and the same for Arsenal. But hey, we're not complaining. Our teams are riding high. Arsenal have got a 5-point lead at the top of the table. Manchester United are dizzy heights of third. I think it's been 3 years since we've been that high, although some goal difference. Unfortunately, I've had to console my daughter, who's a big Aston Villa fan. But oh well,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's been great catching up, guys. It's good to have all three of us again. Although you probably wish you didn't have us three because there's a lot of Man United talk. But
It's all right, guys.
please,
I'll talk at the end of
thanks
the
for
season when
listening.
we win the league. Yeah,
Okay,
come on.
please subscribe, like, and follow. And a big thank you to our sponsors, Dave's Optometrist. So please do check out the various enhanced services they provide. One of which is Sports Vision, which can really elevate the care or the performance that you have in your specific field of sport. Until the next time, take care, and we look forward to catching up soon.